thought I was going to die. To stay true to the progression and the timeline of the Desert Series hunts, like I'm probably, I don't know, I'm quite a ways into it. But after the third day, I took a break and went back up to the mountains, me and a buddy of mine, to go catch a bear, or try to catch a bear. And I'm gonna add that video in here because it fits in this timeline. Even though I was probably close to catching this lion down here, or not, you know, I was close to this lion. We went back up there, and anyway, did I say I don't like to hunt bears? It's just, I think running bears is for young men. Anyway, I'm gonna put that story in right here. Bear season just started again, and a buddy of mine last week came up, and Robert Pino, and we decided we're gonna go out and hunt for a couple days, and we took off. Well, we left from Las Cruces early that morning and got up here at my camp, and I mean, it was raining and foggy and everything. Stopped in Hillsboro, and I asked Robert, I said, I got to come up here anyway, because I got to take care of things. And I said, if you want to, I said, when it looks like this, it's gonna usually rain all day, and because it was socked in, it wasn't just scattered thunder showers. And Robert said, no, I come this far, let's go on up. So we came up and we watched it rain, piddle around and everything, and it spit, and it kind of cleared up a little bit. So we finally said, to heck with it, I got a rain slicker and everything, and he's got some fancy Sitka rain gear. We decided to take off. So we just took the dogs that run bears. I left the other dogs here that really don't care for running bears. They just run lions mainly. And so we took off and headed up the trail, and it wasn't that bad. It was pretty nice. And we got up there about 3 miles, I'm going to say. And old Dietz, he went off there, and you could see him smelling on the brush, and pretty soon, boah, he just opened up, and there he goes, and all the dogs went with him, and Booger and Dan and Dietz, and then Robert had 3 dogs. I can't remember which ones it was. They went, or 2 or 3 dogs that went. Some of them came back. He had one dog, his best dog, is not feeling very good, has a kidney stone or something. But anyway, man, they took off and they went up the mountain, and they stopped that bear about 3 times. Typical, same things happened last time when I was by myself. And you can't get through this country fast enough to stay with the dogs. It's just too rough. We're just whipping and spurring, making our mules move on, trying to get up there, thinking we're going to get to where, because they showed they were treed for a long time. And then it broke loose, and man, it took off, and the dogs were kind of in a bluffy little canyon, and I think probably they had a hard time getting through that, because we heard Robert's dogs, and they were young dogs. They started, baying and opening up down that canyon, and my dogs were already gone. And I think what happened is those young dogs, they couldn't figure out how to get out of there. It was a bad bluff, and that bear probably climbed the bluff. Whatever happened. Anyway, that was just the beginning of our trouble. So we took off, and we gathered up his dogs that were hung there, and sure enough, it started raining. Not hard, but it was raining. Good enough to get us wet, put our slickers on and everything. Robert got all decked out in his rain suit, and I teased him about it, because it's real fancy Sitka gear,
Styling.
That's some nice stuff. And we were up there, and we stopped and ate lunch, and I made some coffee, with the jet boil, and because the dogs were gone, they were running so hard then and so fast, and in some country that is so hard to get through. I mean, you look at your GPS or your Garmin, and you could just barely hear them still opening up over there, and you could look, and it's like they were 0.48 miles away, or 0.5, a half a mile away. And then we were still traveling towards them, and you look down again, and they were, 0.8 miles away. And then we went further trying to get gathered up on them, and you look, and they're a mile away. So they were gaining distance on us. And like I told, I've done that so many times before, and with the way the weather looked, I said, Robert, yeah, let's just go back to camp. I mean, they know their way back. We can't. Time we get down in there, it's going to start dumping on us, and it's going to be a miserable day, and we won't get out of there or whatever. So anyway, we came on back, and Robert decided he better go home. He had forgot that it was his anniversary the next day, so he had to go home and spend it with his wife. And next morning I got up and left fairly early in the morning. Just took my lion hounds with me, and I thought, well, I'll just ride back in there and see if I can find those dogs. And it was foggy and overcast and spitting rain. That's where I'm going, right up there. They're back over the top. It's probably taking me a good hour and a half to get all the way up on top there. I was traveling down through there, just riding along and going up, you know, those ascending up into the clouds. The whole canyon. I don't know what. I just decided, well, I'm gonna go on back. I'm gonna go on, get as close as I can to him. I'd lost a saw that I carried on my saddle. Last time I was up there, on the video, I'll put it right up here, of rescuing Booger. And I'd lost the saw right there, and I'll be dang, I had no clue. It's real brushy, real thick. There's no trail. You're just bushwhacking back and forth. Stopped to eat lunch, and there was my saw right there. I found it. Look at that. I didn't think there was any chance I could find that. I came through here, well, I'm not sure when. I think it was last year, the end of last year. I was coming through here. Is when I made the video rescuing Booger. Of course, I'm rescuing Booger again. Anyway, I lost the saw. And I didn't bring my scabbard to put it in, but I'll figure out a way to haul it out of here. And I didn't think there's any way in heck I could get back here. I mean, you can see how thick it is. No marked trail. You just kind of got a bushwhack. And I was sitting here thinking, well, maybe I should stop right here and eat lunch. And I looked down, there was my saw. It's pretty good. I keep thinking every now and then I hear a dog bark. Or I don't have any signal on the hounds though. Here. Steak and eggs. This is terrible back in here. The brush is grown up so thick and it's wet, but I found my saw. Mule's tired. I am too. I think when I get up to the top, I should be able to get signal on them. If I don't have signal on them up there, I'm going back. It's 12 o'clock right now. What's up, Chad? No. So I should be up to the top by 1:30. I can still be back camp by, I don't know, 4 o'clock. Feel better now I'm eating. And that fog comes in, and it kind of settled down in here, and I can't see very good. It's thick and brushy, and bothers me just a little bit. Not bad, just a little bit. Oh well, here we go. Thought, man, that's a good sign. So I got my saw gathered up, and I just kept on going. Man, we got way back in there. I mean, it's hard to describe how rough and remote it is. I mean, to get there, the thorny locust has come back so bad that, I mean, I should have videoed my shirt, but I was wearing I wear a cool shirt because most of the time this time of year is kind of hot. It just pokes holes in you, and I mean, it was bloody on both sleeves, and you get scratches on you all over the place, and it's steep, rough. Half the time you got to lead your mule, and then he's sliding, you know, and I fell down like 4 or 5 times, and man, I got where I had signal on the dogs. We use our trackers for our dogs. It's a GPS tracker, but it only works. But it only works like line of sight. Like now, I just now got signal that my dog's over there. I'm sure he's laid. It says he's treed, but I'm sure he's just laid up somewhere. We don't use that thing so we can cheat and cut it, you know, do whatever they think. It's more for the safety of the hounds, so we can get to them in case they're. I mean, what happens if he was on a bluff or something? He couldn't get out. Anyway, makes you feel good when you get signal. Man, they're right down there in some bluffy country, and I got worried. I thought, what happens if, you know, your worst fear is that they're ledged up, you know, and they can't get out, and you leave them there, you know. So I'd never been in that far before, so I went back around and thought I seen a little old hogback ridge that I could work my way down and get down to them. Got right here. We're bluffed up. Dogs are over there somewhere down on that point. I don't know. Battery's running low on this, so I'll lose communication here in a little while. I'm not sure what to do. Beautiful country though, look at that. When I went around, man, you're just on a bluff. I mean, just straight down over 100 feet drop off. Son of a gun, I was within 0.45 miles of them, you know, of 2 of them, and then Dietz, from where the race began, he was always way behind the other dogs. He was going, but he was behind them. And so, he was, you know, a mile out. He was a half a mile further out than they were. So I debated, and I got over there on the saddle, and I thought, you know, if I drop down into here, there's no way I can make it out after, or you know, before dark. I'm just going to have to spend the night. And you know, I wasn't worried about it. It's early October or late September. The weather's not that bad. It's not like it's going to be cold. And I got all my gear with me to keep me warm, and I had a dehydrated meal with me, and I had some coffee, and I had peanut butter and some stuff, you know, some nuts and stuff, enough to, you know, I didn't have to worry about it. And I said, shoot, you know, this is what it's all about. I got to get down there to those dogs, because they were moving. I didn't really believe they were ledged up, but I thought they were sore-footed, and I wanted to get them out of there. So, man, I took off down this. You couldn't ride. I mean, it's just steep. I could see the saddle over there where the dogs were. I don't know, about a half a mile, I guess. And it's so steep that you just slide down there, and then you cut these little ravines all the way over there. Tried to stay, you know, I tried to stay parallel, horizontal across the mountain, you know, try not to lose elevation, because I knew if I could stay up a little higher, I wouldn't have to go down and come back up. So I stayed right in there, and I finally, my mule was sliding, and I fell down 4 or 5 times, and finally got over there and got the dogs, you know, and there was Booger and Dan. They were okay. They were sore-footed. They were tired. I knew I could. It was starting to get late, and I knew I couldn't get up that mountain, you know, and so I went on over to that saddle. I said, just going to spend the night here now. And it got nice, you know. The sun was going down, but there was no clouds in the sky. It's going to be camp for the night. Not the best camp in the world. Kind of see where I'm at. The river's way down there. Dietz is still out. He's over there. Booger bear, Booger. I got to him. Hey, buddy. You after a nasty old bear? I'll show you where I came from. I'm worn out now. I'm tired. There's a saddle right on the backside there, and I came down, and then I worked my way across through here, all the way around. I'm gonna get a fire started. Gonna make things a little more homey. I want to stay right on the downside. I don't think, you know, I don't like standing or sleep in those dead timbers, but I want to be on the downhill side because there's going to be a breeze blowing through here all night. Although I got everything I need to stay warm. I'm not going to get cold. So, why do we do this? Why? No idea. Look at that jackass. He's tired now. He is real tired. I'm gonna unsaddle him. But there was no clouds in the sky. And I mean, it was a mistake I made when I descended down into that. I had forgot about the weather forecast. And I knew, my wife had told me that there was rain in the forecast. And I didn't think about it. I don't know. I just was into the adventure of going down there and spending the night, building a fire and everything. And so that's what I did. I went down there and I built the fire. And everything was great. Gotta hobble my mule. Don't want to be left afoot. Marshall Dillon would be proud. I got this little quilted blanket. I don't know what it's good for, but I got wool too, so it's nice out here. Good night. You know, I was comfortable. I got this wool, like a snow or those sled dog people use up north and everything. It's real warm. It's got big pockets on it, a big hood. And I put it on. I started getting a little chilly, and then I got a little down vest, or not vest, down like a sweater you can wear underneath it. And so I put that on. I had my Wooby blanket, and I pulled it out, put it over my legs, and got in my saddle, you know, lay back in my saddle and got comfortable and pretty good, you know. My pants were still a little wet on the bottom from going through the brush, you know, because there's a lot of moisture still on all on the brush getting there. Everything was good. And then about 11 o'clock it started. Big old thunderclouds, and you could just see, you know, the lightning like that, and then I mean, and we were so high up there, and it just came and hung over the top of that mountain. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just going to be a light show, and it was a beautiful light show. And then all of a sudden, it started raining. Steady, steady, steady rain. And I mean, I thought, well, you know, I got my slicker and just laid it over me, and that wasn't working to keep me dry. So I put my slicker on, and then all I had was I had a bakavla that I'd stuffed in my survival bag, and then I had that wool thing. I put it over my head, and I couldn't keep the rain out of my face. So I took my hat and I put it over my face and had that all covered up, and I'd lay down in the saddle, and that wouldn't work. You know, I'd get wet, and then the water would get down in my neck, and I'd get uncomfortable, so the only way I could get comfortable is if I sat up. I put my slicker on me, buttoned it all the way up to my neck, put the woobie over, and I thought the woobie would keep me dry, but no, that thing got wet, and I mean, it helped, but it didn't do any good after a while. And but you know, I kept my hands there, my gloves got so soaked that they weren't doing any good. And I mean, I got cold just from being wet. I guess the wool, I mean, it is true that the wool has some insulating value after it gets wet, but it doesn't have any comfort value really, because I was miserable. And so I just sit there. Where's the wind? I just sat there for from about 10:30, 11 o'clock something that night until 4:30 the next morning. The wind's gonna blow now. Till 4:30 the next morning, and I just sit up like that, and just because if I leaned back, the rain would run down, and even if I had that slicker zipped up, it'd come down somehow and get down and drip into me. So I could just sit there like that, and I pull that wool thing down and put my hat on top of it and let the rain run off. And miserable night. And the thunder and the lightning just felt like it was just like 10 foot over my head. Just, and man, I sat there all night long, and I thought, if I ever get out of here. And then I contemplated, you know, your mind's your worst enemy when you're in a situation like that, because I sat there and I thought, well, I just need to get out of here. I need to just get out of here, get on my mule and ride out. So, but that would have been probably the worst thing I could do, because it was raining so hard and it was dark. You couldn't hardly see your hand in front of your face, you know, and it was just nasty. And if I'd have tried to get out that old rough ridge and then tried to guess which way to get out further from there, because I'd never been in there before, I'd have probably ended up lost or fallen off a bluff or something. There's no telling, sliding, or your mule slipping and falling on you, or because you couldn't ride out of that thing. So man, I just sat there all night long, and then I couldn't video the next day. Everything I had got wet. I had the camera that I'm filming with now, I had it in that click thing, and I had a plastic cover over it, and then I had it in a trash can, but it still got moisture in it, and I was scared to turn it on. I thought, if I turn it on, it's gonna, you know, fry it. My iPhone that I usually video with, or a lot, the battery was dead in it, and I'd stuck it in the click too, so I didn't. There's no video of the third day. And second day, or first day was me and Robert hunting, second day was me getting in there, third day was when I was coming out. And I knew, you know, I had a 6 or 7 hour mile walk and ride out of there, you know. And I got up about right when it quit raining, you know, 4:30 or whatever. I sat up and I got my jet boil out, and I made me some hot water. It saved me enough water to do it. I had a dehydrated meal. It was beef and potatoes with onions, and so I heated up some water, and I boiled it and put that in there in that pouch, and then I got I made me enough coffee. I had some good thing to carry with you is those little Starbucks instant coffees. Man, they're just little tubes like that. Put 2 of them in a deal. It's about like that, you know, that jet boil, and makes good coffee, and that warmed me up and kind of got me feeling a little bit better. And I ate that beef and potatoes, and it tasted like crap. I didn't like it at all. I know there's better ones like the lasagna and everything is better, but beef stroganoff. I think that's a lot better. But anyway, don't get the beef and potatoes. It's no good. But I ate that because I knew I needed some energy, and ate some nuts. And boy, right when the sun cracked about 6:30 and it started to get a little bit light, I started saddling my mule. Well, the fog was so bad you couldn't see. And I didn't realize how important it was for me to navigate. You know, I had my GPS, but being able to navigate when you can't see the ridges or the mountaintops or where you're going, you just kind of got to guess, you know. And so finally, yeah, I never did get to Dietz. And I just figured, you know, I couldn't go yesterday and today, but tomorrow I'm going to go back out there. But I think I seen him. I think he's coming back in. But so finally, I worked my way out of there, and I mean, my boots were soaking wet. And these Carhartt, I love to wear these Carhartt pants because it's a little heavier material and it protects your legs and that brush and everything. But they're worthless in a rainstorm. I mean, they get wet and soaked and heavy, and my boots, you know, they were soaking wet all the way through. I wasn't wet in my body. The slicker kind of helped, and then the wool thing, it didn't allow me to get wet underneath. But I was just miserable coming out. I got big old blisters on my feet, and I had to walk the majority of the way just because of how rough it was. And that old mule of mine, when he finally decided that, you know, I was going the right way, and we were heading home, and I got to a place where I could ride him. I mean, we really covered the country pretty good. But I have to say that was probably the most miserable night I've ever had. And if I had many more that I had to do like that, I got to go back. With Dietz only being about a half a mile over there, I thought, when I got to that saddle, I thought, well, in the morning when the sun comes out, I'll just go on over the mountain, I'll get him. He's only half a mile over there. Now, it's real rough country. But the next morning I got up, and it was still nasty, foggy, and I was so wet, I had to make a decision, because I knew that if I tried to ride over that hill, and I got stuck out there again, had to stay another night, if it stayed rainy and it got even colder, it would have been more. I don't want to say I wouldn't have made it, because I probably would have, but I'd have probably thought I was going to die. So I didn't go. And that was the plan when I got down there. Anyway, we made it. I'm back up here. Oh no, I'll tell you how these hound dogs are. People, I read somewhere that we make these dogs, we train these dogs to chase stuff. That's so much BS. On the way back I had Booger and I had Dan, and I had the lion hounds with me. So we're on the way back. We're up on top, and they start trailing a lion. I mean, and there's P and Jazz and all the dogs that won't run a bear. I mean, they're just, and I remember sitting up there, and when I was sitting up there, I remember, boy, this is why I like hunting lions, because it's a real slow, kind of a steady, easy pace, cold trailing lion. They just bark here and bark there and bark here, and they're working out. Pretty soon a dog goes up there and he finds it, and the other dogs go to him. It's just not a mad race through the mountains. So we're going up there, and one of the young dogs, Clara, goes off there to the side. And she starts screaming. I thought, she jumped it, But then I heard it going through the brush. Well, a lion doesn't make that much noise going through the brush. And I got to be totally honest. I would like to say that it was a bear, but I'm not 100% sure it was a bear. And, going through, a bear makes a lot of noise running through the brush like that too. But the reason I don't think it was totally a bear is Jazz ran it the whole way. So did Lori run it the whole way. And they don't usually run a bear. Now, they might have got excited in a moment, but I don't know. I hate to admit it, but I think Booger, because P came right back to me. P won't run a bear, but P's broke. She won't run a deer or nothing either. I think Booger is broke if he's in broke company. And when that puppy started, I think they might have jumped a deer. Anyway, so there they were gone. They didn't come back in until last night. They were gone another day. After they had been gone up there, and I had a few snacks for them, and they'd been gone for like 2 days. So that's the desire to hunt. That's in them. That's not us training it. But anyway, hopefully Dietz will make it in, or I'll find him tomorrow and start all over again. It's a good adventure. don't think I want to do it again. I am going to rehab my gear, because you know, down here in this desert, we don't think about the rain. We only get, I mean, maybe up here we get 18 inches of rain a year, but you know, that's not much. And so I'm just not really, I got a slicker, and it's good when you're riding, you know, it's old cowboy slicker, hangs down on your knees, but you know, to be out and stay out all night, you know, I need I don't know, carry one of those sil nylon tarps or something to keep the rain off of me, for sure. It's not a pleasant experience. So anyway, till next time. That's good stuff. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that you got something out of it. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe and the little bell up there, and you'll get notifications when I post a new video. If you like, also, if you feel like it, comment down below. I'm going to try to make videos every week. I'm going to be hunting from here on out, so hopefully I'll have enough time and I'll have some interesting stuff. It's always an adventure. Always an adventure. And it's all about the hounds.